Today, we're welcoming our guests from Barcelona. I would like to say thank you to all the artists and sponsors who brought their hearts to Jersey City to open exhibition during the most difficult time for me as Ukrainian born. And I was born in Kiev and grew up in Belarus. So what's going on right now on that part of the world is unimaginable. And I just would like to, before we start, take 1 minute for the people of Ukraine. Thank you. Thank you so much. And again, welcome to Jersey City. Welcome to Jersey City Theater Center. And now it is my honor and pleasure to introduce Director of Sant Jordi USA, Mary Ann Newman.
It was good to have a minute to think about other people and to wish them the best, wish them peace. And that has to do with why we're here. Welcome to Sant Jordi USA, Festival of Books, Roses, and the Arts. It has been, you know, sometimes things happen because you've been planning them for years and years, and of course that's the best way to do things. But sometimes things are responding to happenstance, and almost one might say to the zeitgeist. The first part of this series of unexpected events is just the friendship with Laia Cabrera and Isabelle Duverger, who are the artists who have done this extraordinary exhibition that we are going to see now. But also they have been the fellow travelers with the Catalan Center, with all of the projects that I've done in New York since I've been doing Catalan things in New York at New York University. And in 2019, we had a project, and they were going to participate in this project and do a projection on the Flatiron Building. And it turned out, of course, that we couldn't do any of the lit crawls that we were planning to do. So Laia and Isabelle and I said, let's go online. And that was a wonderful adventure. Sant Jordi USA. Sant Jordi Festival of Books and Roses is one of the most beautiful book fairs in the world, because it's in one of the most beautiful cities in the world, Barcelona, where the promenades fill up with books and roses every year, and it's just an extraordinary adventure, and I suggest that you try to be there when you're on April 23rd. But in New York, what we did as of 2014, which was the first year with the Catalan Institute of America that we organized a lit crawl in Dumbo, we decided to devote Sant Jordi to literature and translation as a way to bring other languages and cultures under the umbrella of Sant Jordi Festival of Books and Roses. And this has been an extraordinary thing, and when we went online because of COVID, we discovered that we could reach the world. So in 2020, we reached 24 languages, 45 countries, and 7,000 visitors. So this year is the first year that we're doing this hybrid, because we wanted to be able to embrace you all. And an extraordinary thing happened. Espe Pons got in touch with me Espe Pons is the artist of the show called Under the Light of the Sea. And she was exploring the trauma of the Civil War, the never-ending trauma of war, because 80 years hence we're still talking about it. And then Teresa Turriera, I met Teresa Turriera through translation, and she was working on the war in the Balkans. And these two shows had so much in common that it seemed extraordinary. And then, once again, through Laia and Isabelle, I met Olga Levina, who opened her house to us. So we have the welcoming embrace of Catalan architecture and landscape through Laia and Isabelle, and the contemplation of the traumas of war, unexpectedly and tragically in the midst of yet another war. So I hope that you will find this this conjunction of extraordinary circumstances to be a good point of departure for thinking about our histories. And I hope that you enjoy this celebration of Sant Jordi Festival of Books and Roses, and above all, Sant Jordi is a booksellers festival, so please go and look at those beautiful books that we have. All of them are books that are presented in the course of the festival. Tomorrow, please go online and see all of the wonderful literary events that we have online from 1 to 4 in the afternoon. And please come back tomorrow and Saturday for the discussions of Under the Light of the Sea and There's Still Someone in the Woods. At the same time also a dance duo got in touch with me, and they will be doing an homage to peace in the context of the Balkans exhibition, to David Rodriguez and Luc Franti, an homage to Pau Casals, the great Catalan cellist and peace activist. And another incredible happenstance is that I translated last year a book called Brigadistas, Lives for Liberty, which is about the international volunteers who went to fight fascism in the Civil War. And Maria Litvan, who also worked with us at New York University, has done a staged reading. She's a dramaturge now and a PhD student at Hunter. And so she has done a stage reading of Brigadistas, which is an homage to the volunteers who went to that war. So somehow all of it came together, and I'm thrilled that you're here to share it with us. And now it's my pleasure and honor to introduce Isidre Sala, who is the delegate of the government of Catalonia to the United States, without whom we could not have done this. We have the support of Isidre and of Pilar Perez Ordoño, who's the head of the New York office. We're also really grateful to the Institut Ramon Llull for bringing two of the people who read on Monday, and to Amazon Crossing, who in this case are the good guys, who have also supported the festival. And Amazon Crossing is not Amazon, it is the imprint that publishes literature and translation, so they're part of our ecosystem too. So thank you very much. Isidre, please. My pleasure to present Isidre Sala.
Thank you. Thank you, Mary Ann. Thank you all. Good evening, bon vespre a tothom. It's a pleasure being here today, here to share one of these big moments of this Sant Jordi Festival in the USA. As Mary Ann said, my name is Isidre Sala. I'm the head of the delegation of the government of Catalonia to the US, and I'm normally in Washington, D.C., but we have also here an office in New York. And it's a pleasure being here to share with you definitely the best of Catalonia, which is Sant Jordi. Sant Jordi for us means a lot. Sant Jordi is the same patron of Catalonia, but it's not only that. It's the most beautiful day in Catalonia. I fully agree with Mary Ann that if you have the chance once in your life to go into Catalonia, specifically in Barcelona for Sant Jordi Day, you won't regret it. It's fantastic. So you won't find in many other places in the world when the people wake up in the morning and have decided to go and do weird things like buying books and roses. If you think really carefully, you don't buy books and roses every day, unfortunately. So you have millions of people that day doing these weird activities. So just to put on context, 60% of the books in Catalonia are sold in that single day, 60% in one day. And we have 7.5 million people in Catalonia, and that day more than 8 million roses are sold in one single day again. So we don't have enough roses in Catalonia. We have to bring roses from all over the world, specifically, for example, from Colombia. Many of them are coming nowadays. So it's a wonderful day. Everybody's happy, everybody's smiling, everybody's exchanging books and roses with their loved ones. So it's fantastic. So this year is also very important, 2022. I would say that for three main reasons. First of all, it looks like that finally we are going through this pandemic, and we will be able to forget about COVID. Last 2 years, last two Sant Jordis have been online, and it's definitely not the same. So we are happy that we are back here in person. Also because this year, unfortunately, and Olga and Marian have already said, so in Europe, close where Catalonia is, there is again war, and this is very, very sad. It's really disappointing. And we hope that this could end as soon as possible with not so much pain for so many people. And also because this week has been also disturbing news in Catalonia. It has been released in an American outlet, the New Yorker, an article saying that more than 65 people in Catalonia, including politicians, lawyers, journalists, have been spied with via this Pegasus software that, you know, illegally spy all your communications, which is something not nice. So we want to ask this Sant Jordi 2022, health, peace, and democracy, hopefully. And I like just to end with big thanks to everyone that has made this possible. First of all, for Olga Levina, who is our host tonight in this magnificent Jersey City Theatre Center. We hope that we will be able to come here many, many more Sant Jordis in the future. Also to Mary Ann Newman, the aim of the Catalan Farragut Fund for the Farragut Fund for the Catalan culture here in New York, and doing a fantastic job to promote Catalan culture in this country. Also the Catalan Institute of America. Of course, all the artists that have been incorporated in this festival. Marian has already named them: Espe Pons, Teresa Turiera, of course Laia Cabrera and Isabelle Duverger, who are going to present now this close-up job. And of course everybody who is here today, and also Pilar, who is the head of the New York office, and he's been working very hard these last few weeks to make this possible. Thank you very much. Enjoy Sant Jordi. Remember that it's this Saturday, and it will be a lot of events here. Buy books, buy roses, enjoy the activities, and hopefully see you many more years from now in this Sant Jordi USA festival. Thank you. Now I'm going to introduce the artist of tonight, Laia Cabrera. Laia Cabrera is from my own city, from Lleida, Catalonia, but she's been living here in New York for some years already, and she's artist with capital letters. She's doing art, multimedia art, merging all kinds of disciplines like theater, like dance, like music, like video, everything, making beautiful creations, and she has been exposing her work in many places in the US, in other parts of in Latin America, and of course in Europe. And we are very lucky. We are very lucky because, of course, to explain and to trying to transmit this spirit of Sant Jordi is much easier with a Catalan person doing this job than someone who has never been to Catalonia. And she's the co-founder, together with another fantastic artist, Isabelle Duverger, of this company, Laia Cabrera and Company. And it's a pleasure to have with us here tonight. And Laia, please, don't be shy, come here and explain what we are doing. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Well, not to make it too long, we're gonna right now present the piece that we're joining forces with all the other artists for this wonderful Festival of the Arts. It's called Close Up Primer Pla, and it's a visual narrative memoir, looking back and looking forward, looking at the origin, trying to capture the instant and what happens when you go back to the place that you left many years ago and what still makes you fall in love with it, no? Then there is also a lot of themes that I think are connecting also all the work that we're gonna see in this Festival of the Arts. Is this wanting to, what can we learn from where we're coming from? And the piece also has a lot of underlying images that reminds you of brotherhood, of moments of embrace, looking for, like this aim to be better, to transcendence. There's this idea also, Scala, for example, to create this like staircase to the heavens and go beyond, find like more profound and transcendent ways of looking at our humanity. I hope that you like it. I'm very thrilled. Isabelle, please join me in that. Also, you're going to see those beautiful illustrations. This is like hand-drawn, hand-painted. It's also like another idea of creating an ideal city. It embraces, New York, Washington, and this imaginary kind of architectures that we can create in better worlds, no? I'm very happy also to share this beautiful moment. Thank you, Galevina, for making that possible. Mary Ann, without you, nothing would be possible. Isidre, Pilar, that piece is made with the wonderful support and vision of the Catalan delegation that make that possible. And also sharing that with Espe, with Oriol, with Teresa, with Judith, all the artists that are going to come also, Maria, David. I don't know, it's a pleasure to be part of that, and I'm inviting you to that journey. It's going to take you to all the beautiful landscapes and architecture and rituals and values that I found relevant in our culture. With more further ado, thank you so much for coming and enjoy. Bye-bye.
No? No, Laia? Okay. There should be also a microphone out there somewhere so that after we have a little bit of a conversation here, you can also make comments and ask questions, and I'm sure there are lots of them. What? Sure.
Where are you?
We have Nana over here.
Oh, wonderful. The musician who scored the film. Please come. Hello, Nana. This is for you. Yes.
Sorry, I felt it was very long. Because that was meant, the piece was meant also to be transitory, like walk through, that you're kind of like go inside and you are part of it more than to be seen as a traditional kind of viewing. The idea is more like to be spatial, that you have to walk around. Anyway, I hope that's been enjoyable as well.
So we're not supposed to be sitting watching. Yeah, but it was very nice to sit and watch. I mean, I think I haven't been so relaxed in a long time. I think I would like to organize this by big topics, for example. Maybe starting with geography, just where was everything, and then going to imagery and how you chose and combined the images, and then maybe a little bit about the science. So, can you tell us, I mean, people who know Catalonia, and then, of course, how the music was chosen and how you incorporated it. And the animation. I mean the images and the city. So there's the nuts and bolts of where were you and why did you choose those sites? And let's start with that.
A complicated question. The idea was to show the richness. Also, the Catalonia has a lot of has in a very small like. The kilometers. Oh.
Let's start back even farther. So, why a film about Catalonia?
Well, that came, like I was to blame me, Nazi and Pilar a little bit, but it was like sort of like an invitation to be able to do. Sí. It was kind of an invitation to reflect and to do a piece that would, I don't know, think about, what it meant for us, like Catalonia in terms of like identity and values and people. And looking at that, I don't know, the idea was like also to decentralize a little bit, to be able to see more places that are not that like more people knows about it, that are also like fascinating because they have, I mean, you saw in the journey, like then in the final version of that piece right now, there is a little bit, you're guided a little bit through going through the mountains or going to the city or how, because it helps, I think, to see how intertwined things are, and how in different places all these things are like kind of woven, but basically the idea was to capture the essence, and in order to do that, it was very important to decentralize, to go to places that maybe are not. And in that journey for me also, even being born in Catalonia, I discovered myself. It was a journey of discovery as well. I discovered a lot of things that I didn't even know, was not aware of it. It allowed me to deepen also in my knowledge of the culture My first inspiration was like people, value, and places as well, to think what, values, things in the rituals that for me, like, I don't know, I thought it's a very powerful image when you see the community, and how the rituals are also showing that. And also, I don't know, we have the sea, but also we have all these raw and these trees and these roots, and no sé, the idea was to, again, to be able to give like a broader view, and also to see, beyond, what we, then also you discover a lot of things, because you see that everything is so connected, and the architecture is so inspired in nature. I mean, a lot of the modernism, which is very important in Catalonia, is because nature and art are so connected.
You were talking about, I think it's really interesting, and we can, the images will be, and the modernism and all of that we can talk about in the next, but what was it like to discover yourself, or what did you discover that you didn't expect to see, after years of living here and sort of going back and immerse, in the way that you've immersed us, how did you immerse yourself in that landscape and that architecture?
Well, one of the more important things for me was also the emotional journey that I had, because it was like also through families, through friends, everyone. I was very curious to see what everyone felt that was like really something that were either in love with or passionate or like impressed. And it was a lot of conversations, a lot of family or friends or people telling me like, did you see that? You have to see that. And it was also a lot of discovery in that sense of like getting, a lot of feedback, and a lot of places that I didn't know really that well. All the Priorat and Escalade, which has a huge impact, and is where you have this drone shot and you see this, and I don't know, but also was a lot of talking and getting also a lot of feedback from people, and also discovering all these little towns or little places, which I was not aware also living there, that were like very frontiers, or they had, Penelles, for example, is a little village that is near Lleida, that Penelles, they decided to do like all this muralism, which we have here in Jersey City as well. I don't know, you saw some images. This is a little town that invited a lot of artists all over the world to paint, and there's beautiful, also a lot of vineyards that are like, they have a lot of artistry, like the Viña dels Artistes, or other ones that you see it here that invited artists, and for example, in each of the vineyards, they commission a piece and a sculpture, and then as you navigate the vineyards, you see sculptures like in each one of them. That was the last town before you changed province, and I don't know how they embraced a land that was like dry and, like no one's land, and they kind of like did that, a major switch. That, I mean, for example, or I don't know, I can talk, I mean, there is so many things, but...
But that is the question. There was one place that was white bare mountains that was just amazing. What was that? Where was that? There's a absolutely bare mountains that are practically like chalk. And I had never seen that before.
Well, that's also, it's part of El Congost. In El Congost is a beautiful also cliff that we have in the province of Lleida, and it's amazing, it's super powerful. And going through that, and then, like through the Pre-Pyrenees and the Pyrenees, you have all these like rocks and cliffs that are like fascinating, they're breathtaking. Also the Montsany as well.
When I was studying poetry in Madrid, I had a professor who was fantastic, Carlos Bosonio, and one day he came in and he said, we never knew until we had tapias that a wall could be a work of art. And this is something that you evoke often, the juxtaposing a work of art with a rock formation or something like that. So did you say, okay, I have these images that are in my mind that I'd like to reproduce, or did you discover them and then, what was the process in that sense? Or was it both?
I like what you say, because it's true for me, like these rocks and these landscapes were like paintings. I mean, you could spend hours seeing them, is that they're like so powerful. It was both ways. There are things that I knew that I wanted. The Congos also we visited, no? Isabelle, maybe you can talk about that. You were also highly impressed. There are places that I've been visiting in the last years that I was like, wow, how come that this is not something that people knows more, had discovered? That was important part. Other places that I didn't know that much, and people remind me that you have to go, which Escalade is one of them. I mean, it was a combination of both.
Talk a little bit about Escalade, because of course that's a ruin, so
Yeah.
tell us.
Well, that was amazing because there was this Cartojans, I mean, there's like a monks order that were in the...
It's an order of the Cistercians.
Sí, which, I don't know, they were very visionary at the time, and they built that, and their idea, and if you see in all the places, like it's a little sign, it's like a ladder, you know, like it's the sign. They wanted to build a staircase to heaven, and I don't know, it's fascinating. They built all these monasteries at the bottom of the Mont San, which is like these huge mountains, I mean, wonderful. And I don't know, we had a drone shot, and it was amazing to see all these remains of these arcs and this beautiful architecture. They had all these gardens, and elevate yourself and get the idea that they wanted, you know, that you kind of, you know, this transcendence, because you have this mountain that surrounds you, but at the same time you're in, no sé, for me it was, I felt, you know, very, very touched by that. And then there's this image that there is the eye, well, I call it the eye, and it's like the I mean, the contrapicat, well, the reverse shot that you have when you're inside of the La Casa, La Padrera. Yeah, which he also created a little bit like the Pantheon in Italy, this idea that you look at the sky. I don't know, for me, all this was a reminder. I mean, I was seeing it over and over, like this idea of transcendence, no, in architecture, in the landscape. I thought that the Cartesians had this idea also, Gaudí also, and that's why there's a moment that it's mixed, that when you see the sky, you see, because I think that's what also the idea that they had. And maybe you want to point something out the Congos, because...
Like right now.
Yeah.
No,
I don't
find
know how.
another question.
Okay, another question.
Well, but this is, I did want to get to, I know that you've done some research into forms, so, and into fractals, and you were doing a lot of work with the geometry of the space as well. So maybe you'd like to talk about how you found that in nature, and then how you found it in, you know, how it is reproduced in the architecture, because Gaudí very specifically did that, but indeed it's everywhere. So.
Yeah, thank you, Mary Ann, for an excellent question. Isabelle, I think, can answer that very well.
I mean, a couple of years ago, I went to the Sagrada Familia, and it was not finished, and it's still not finished, but it was already quite advanced, and there was this room that was dedicated to the art of Gaudí and his connection for his art with nature. So you have like the golden number that you can find in nature through the shells, and you have the bee kind of patterns of the wax in the hives. You have all these patterns of nature that are being repeated, that are kind of subdued because we know them, we already have assimilated them, and they are everywhere in his architecture. And I feel that we have been also quite inspired by that, and mostly Laia, in the sense that it's a very Catalan kind of point of view that has made a huge emphasis that now is known worldwide. But so there's this idea of the fractals, the patterns of nature that are repeated in architecture throughout Catalonia, that has been also a great inspiration, which is why we don't see the Sagrada Familia, we don't see the facades of buildings, we always see patterns. We're trying to focus on the micro and not so much on the, because that was one of the thresholds when we were trying to portray Catalonia. It was very hard not to end up doing something very touristic. We wanted to really go into the beauty and the poetry, no? Especially like Laia's language is very poetic. She's a poet to start with before even becoming a filmmaker. So I think that's also part of her language and the visual poetry that we try always to bring.
Yeah, the idea was always like to look at it in a different way, no? And for example, there is this image also that there is a broccoli, basically, which has the structure, and then a Romanesco, sorry, thank you for the correction. And then we did a composite, and the heart, or the center, is the real lamp that it's at the Casa Batlló, which they discovered recently. They were doing some renovations, and I don't know, was this idea that you see the shapes and this beautiful combination with nature and art, no? And the same here, when we were filming, because that was the most fascinating also enterprise, was to find ways to capture this. That's why there is at the end a lot of tiles and the details, you know, because it's this beautiful also thing in Caldes de Montbui. They have this room that Pilar pointed me, and I thought it was beautiful, which is all glass with this kind of vitrals, but it's, I don't know, we discovered a lot of beautiful things, and we try because what we're trying to do is immersive art. We're trying to design it and create it in a way that you feel that you are there, that you're connected with it, and that's why the idea of working in big scale is because the idea is almost to transport you and to give the feeling more than the representation.
The idea of the immersion, right? It's interesting that you are referring to not going for the facade and not going for the easy shot, because that was something that came up in the literature as well, in the Book of Barcelona, of not showing the tourist version of Barcelona, but the sort of insider's version. And that's also true of the landscapes. You're not giving the picture postcard view of Catalonia, but I don't know if you'd like to talk with Nana about the scoring. Do you have would you like?
Yeah, sure. There's actually two parts to the score. There's the piano music, which Laia will talk about, because that's a composer from her, it's like the history, yeah. And then everything else. So everything else is what I did. And we have a very long working relationship. We've been collaborating on many pieces for quite a while. And we have different ways of working together. One way is for Laia and Isabelle to find some of the music that I've created and incorporate that into their piece. And then the other way is for them to present me with their video composites, and I score specifically to the images. In this piece, it was the former. So musical compositions that I had created over time, they decided, you know, the segments that would work the most in those places. And for the most part, the music that I create is it's very melodic, it's very emotional, and I think that one of the reasons why Laia and Isabelle choose to use it in certain places is to evoke different types of emotions at different times. And then again, there's also a palette of instruments that I'm very interested in using. I play the sitar, and I also play classical guitar and jazz guitar. And then the instrumentation is, I think that you've heard a lot of Eastern and Middle Eastern and classical instruments all kind of blended together. So we had some bass, melodic lines, and a lot of it is also very improvised. So it's a combination of improvisation and scored melodic lines and combining instruments from various places. It's not necessarily specific to Catalonia, but the idea is to bring out that emotion, that emotional content for the audience. Do you want to talk about the piano player?
I do invite you to go back to last year's Sant Jordi and the year before, because Nana actually performs in the Sant Jordi, so you can look for Nana Simopoulos and see a beautiful concert.
Yeah, that was true. Like, also because the piece has, at some point, because it was kind of this looking back at the origin and like looking back, looking forward, and a memory and act, kind of like a sort of this dialogue as well. I thought at some point, well, I need to use the music of Nana because we work so long, and it defines very well the mix of the diegetic sound of like with melody and everything. There is moments that you see the trees in the forest, but you're seeing water, or vice versa. This synesthesia, no, of the soundscapes. At the same time, also, I had the feeling that Enrique Granados is from my hometown as well, and is a musician, a pianist that there's, well, my aunt also is a pianist. I studied piano, and I don't know, somehow I thought I had to go back, and he had these beautiful compositions for like the youth. It's called the Youth Young Studies, which are not very well known. They're very simple. I don't know, I felt that was, they had to be there, that was like the beautiful companion for that journey. And that's why I kind of intertwined these moments of these young, early, very simple melodies with a more sophisticated soundscapes that to introduce other elements, because there is everything. There is fire, there is water, there is you know, rustic landscapes, and I mean, it was complicated, and not one single thing was able to weave in the whole storytelling, no? With, yeah, I don't know. Then
Maybe somebody has a question?
yeah, please.
Is there another mic? You do, because live stream requires.
One question I had for you guys was, I really liked your creative process, like when you were speaking about collaborating between like music and film and illustration. Were you considering all of that from the beginning, throughout? You always knew that? And then if you ever disagreed creatively, how did you navigate that? If you could speak on that.
Yeah, well, disagreement, no. We had it from the very beginning, because I mean, I work with Isabelle. We have we collaborate almost in all the projects. Yeah, 15 years collaborating, I mean that, and yeah, and with Nana, we had 20 years now that we had. No, and also the idea to have illustrations is part of something that when I met Isabelle, she's an amazing illustrator, animator, and filmmaker. And I wanted to be part, because I think it's a language that is beautiful to incorporate in this kind of languages that normally not always go together. And I think it's, I don't know, but there's something that I always want to embrace, and I insisted her to have them, even when she doesn't, sometimes she doesn't want to. I mean, that was originally from the very beginning kind of the idea, and maybe you wanted.
The work with Nana is very interesting. We have a piece right now that is in Los Angeles that is immersive, where we really worked together in the process of creating things. So we brought her some visuals, and then she came back with some sound, and we were trying to find the language together to convey the emotions as well. So in this part, it was more like we really loved certain pieces of Nana, and we grabbed it, and we told her, we took your pieces. But between Laia and I, we have a very different way, like we have a different brain, let's say. And so Laia is a filmmaker, but she is also a storyteller. And so her way of telling the story is very narrative. And I am more a visual artist. So I am more focused on the spatial intervention and also in specific moments of the piece. So it's building pieces, and Laia has a very large vision of the piece, and I have a very narrow vision of the piece. So when it works, it's fantastic. So this is how we work. Like we're yeah, I think that works like that.
But yeah, I mean, we talked a lot. I mean, we conceived, and also wanted to say, since I'm here, that for me, it was beautiful. Like, I was so lucky to be able to work with a lot of my family and friends in that journey. They all are part and collaborators in the piece, from production to using drones or second cameras or communication. I have my niece here, which she doesn't want me to make her come here. But anyway, it was also beautiful to share that being there.
But would you talk about the drones? Because
Oh, yeah.
I'd love to know how you got the use from, oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, it would be great if you told us a little bit about the drones, because the views from above were spectacular. And I wanted to tell you one particular image that I loved, which was the vineyards and the wine bottles. Because you had the rows of wine bottles, oh, that's very nice, and then you saw the rows of vineyards from above, and it was spectacular.
Thank you. I love that you like it. Yeah, the drones, I mean, in order to have the filming process, we knew that because we thought from the very beginning that we wanted to be a big scale video projection. We never thought about having like a traditional film. And we thought that we had to map it initially. We thought about a triptych and then a diptych. I mean, how we were able to tell the story and doing these combinations and sometimes composites of images. No, that is not only one single way to tell the story. For that, it was imperative to have a super good camera. We record most of the shots with a 6K Blackmagic camera to be able to have the resolution. When you have shots that they don't have, you see it. And the drone, the same. I mean, it was necessary to be able to, also this idea that there was kind of the inspiration of the piece of transcendence, or being able to go deep and to go, I don't know, like, I don't know, it's almost like a journey of the soul, no? Then it felt that these kind of shots were important because they allow you to see things in a different way, and they have this, yeah, I cannot come up with the word, but
I wanted to really acknowledge the delegation of Catalonia, because in this case they allowed us to have access to fabulous things. And for instance, we were able to go to the Parc Güell, where you cannot put a drone, and we were allowed to fly it. And this is when we discovered that actually this huge plaza, which has this famous bench with all mosaics, when you look it up, it's actually another spiral, another of Gaudi's hidden secret, and it changes completely the perspective of the park, and it's a beauty. For me, that's my favorite shot, but that's also something that we were so privileged to be able to film, because it's not allowed, other than thanks to the delegation. So that was really, and many more access to many more buildings, but yeah.
Also the Casa Batlló, which is difficult to, and we met the guy that is for more than 17 years taking care of, I mean, you know, behind the scenes, the one that kind of closes and opens and cleans, and they managed to close the Casa Batlló for 3 hours for us to be able to record and film whatever we wanted. And he knew all the secrets. He was like, you have to put the camera here, you have to get that shot, you have to go to the 3rd floor and put it there. He opened all the doors on the way for us to have all the shots. I mean, this beautiful shot of the interior where, like, it's almost the sea, you know, like the windows are all imitating the tiles of the sea. And he knew all the tricks to get things beautifully done. Those experiences are very fulfilling. They're very rewarding when you work to meet people like that, to be able to, that feel the passion that everyone has and that you actually that you share as well, no?
Just so you know, when she says he managed to close it for 3 hours, it's because there are hundreds of people lining up outside to get in, so that it really is a big deal.
Yeah, and that, again, I mean, I insist, it was thanks to Isidre, to Pilar, their support made also, like, you know, like our filming and journey, like, really like a jewel, yeah.
Are there any more questions? Anybody else have a? I think that's, we should just break and have a lovely conversation, and thank you so much for being here tonight, and please come back tomorrow and see Espe Pons talk about her extraordinary exhibition of the Civil War, and to see Maria Litvan's show of Brigadistas. And on Saturday, the extraordinary exhibition about the Balkans. There's still someone in the woods, and Teresa Turiera and Oriol Casanovas will tell us about their process. So it's a Catalan extravaganza this week. And thank you again, Isidra Sala, Pilar Perez Ordoño, for all your support, moral and financial. And
Olga, thank you.
oh, Olga, no, nothing happens without Olga. And also, I must say, it has been an incredible pleasure to work with Lance Michel and Ryan Brooks, and the whole team here has been extraordinary and welcoming and generous beyond the shadow of a doubt. So thank you, and thank you again for coming.
Thank you. No, I wanted to say that thank you, Olga, for leaving this beautiful white wall for us. Thank you.